for me, it was like I thought that the stars were kind of aligning for me to leave. Um, my wife was pregnant. I had blown my shoulder out really bad, and I'd had a surgery. I had come back from a surgery and continued to wrestle, and then I hurt my shoulder again, and I knew that based on what the doctor had told me that I was never going to be able to wrestle again. So when like you're in in our society, it's if something's bad for you, you have to quit it. If you smoke, you should quit smoking or whatever, right? Like all those things. So in my mind, wrestling was bad for me at that point. So I had to like quit wrestling cold turkey. And so I was very fortunate enough to be able to be in a position where I could um, wrestle one of my very close friends in my final match and walk away. But then I cut off the entire wrestling world after that. I distanced myself from the business and the people that I knew in it. I didn't watch it anymore. I mean, I completely walked away from it. And what ended up happening because of it is that I slipped into a depression, and I started. My it's kind of interesting now because I look back on some of the photos. Like the last 3 years of wrestling, you can really see. So like 2 years before I got out, the photos that were taken of me, they're very bright, and you can just see it on my face. I'm like so excited to be there. The next year, I had gotten hurt, and some of that shine had worn off a little bit. But that last year that I knew I was going to be done, you can see like on my face in the ring, you can see plain as day I didn't want to even be there. And so it's just this. I was already kind of trending in that direction, and I was subsidizing my pain with alcohol, and it was a very slippery slope for me. And I slipped into alcoholism. I slipped into a depression, and all the while I felt horrible because here I am, a new father, and that should be a very exciting thing, and it should be a very positive thing, and it was. But I didn't realize how badly I was hurting myself because I just took wrestling completely away, and I was hurting other people around me because of it, and I didn't know. So that slippery slope continued to happen for about 8 years, until one day, we all kind of hit rock bottom at the same time. Mine was, I didn't end up. Luckily, I didn't end up hurting myself or anybody else, or end up, in any kind of legal problems whatsoever. But I was gonna, and it was just a matter of time. And I think that I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones who was able to get ahead of it and stop it from getting worse.
What was the
What
one
was the one
thing
thing
that
that
motivated
motivated
you
you
to start
to
getting
start
better?
getting better?
My family. Um, when I realized I'd put them in danger, not just once, multiple times, and it came time to figure out, do I want my family or do I want to continue down the path that I'm on? I chose them, and I never really looked back. I think that helped me in a lot of ways prioritize my life, and I really hadn't had to make that decision before. And I knew that it was hurting people around me, but I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. And I know that sounds odd to say, but anybody who's ever struggled with any kind of dependency like that knows that you don't set out to hurt other people. Like that's not what's happening. You're trying to like dull a pain that you don't even know you have, you know. And that's the world I was living in.
Change
Change
always
always
starts with the
starts with the
individual.
individual.
Starts with you,
Starts with you,
and then from
and
there,
then from there,
it's a process.
it's a process.
So you have to
So you
be
have
able
to be
to
able
work on
to
yourself,
work on
get
yourself,
yourself in the right frame of
yourself in the right
mind,
frame of mind,
so that you can
so that
prevent
you can prevent
future incidents
future
from happening.
incidents from happening.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really helped me, especially that first year, was I attended a lot of AA meetings. And what was great about that is, I mean, you get to hear other people's stories, and you start to realize that you're not alone. But really, the main thing that I picked up from all of those meetings was that nobody ever quits doing something that's harmful to themselves unless they want to. You can send somebody to rehab, you can do all these things legally to people, but unless they really truly want to make a change, that change is never going to come. And so that's where I was at. I was like, I want to change so I don't end up in a much worse situation. So yeah, that's the biggest part that I learned out of all that.